I just jumped out of a plane 20 times. What's the worst that could happen if I swing from a rope over a 1-foot deep lake? And yeah, I didn't know I was gonna go that fast. So I grabbed the rope and I tried to make a funny video for people, but this is where I made a mistake. I forgot that the biggest idiot I know was driving it.
You know, this isn't just messed up, this is illegal. If Jeff would have died, David could have gotten life in prison. Hello, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel. If you know anything about the David Dobrik scandal, you've probably already seen that footage. But in case you're not hip, let me get you up to speed. David Dobrik is a really popular YouTuber, known for his vlogs that he makes with his vlog squad. As you probably have already figured out by now, David Dobrik's YouTube and D-list celebrity stardom has been tanking recently, most notably due to an article that came out from Business Insider, in which a young woman tells her story about how the toxic culture of the vlog squad led to her essay. This toxic culture is one of boys will be boys. Think frat boy-esque in the worst possible way, where David is like their frat president who everyone is being forced to obey out of fear of being kicked out of the exclusive group. And like in this frat culture, David knew his friend Dom was a known predator, but he refused to acknowledge this and instead put him in a situation enabling him to hurt more women. I won't get too much into the story about this woman, but you can read all about it in Business Insider's article, or you can watch the H3 podcast where they've gone over this in detail. But this story and so many others that have been coming out about the vlog squad highlight a main flaw in David's character. He is so focused on getting the juiciest, most click-worthy clips for his vlogs that he's willing to put his friends and absolute strangers in dangerous situations just for views. These dangerous situations clearly make some members of his squad uncomfortable, but they feel they have no choice but to comply due to the unsafe and unfair power dynamic that David has created. He even admitted to this power dynamic in one of his many apology videos recently. But he does claim that he was unaware of this while he's been filming. But he has still benefited from this, so how unaware could he be of this? David's grip on others can be clearly seen in Vlog Squad member Jeff Wittek's recent mini-series. He describes how he and a couple other Vlog Squad members were coerced by David into obtaining a skydiving license, meaning that they had to jump out of a plane around 30 times.
When the f did we go from agreeing to 1 jump to 25?
Why are you skydiving?
I don't know.
Who's making you do it?
Some guy, he's a weird guy. I met him like 2 years ago.
There's even a scene where Jeff is in his flight suit and he calls David.
I kind of want to come. I kind of want to come do it. I just don't know if, like, that's the right idea.
Go play video games.
He is putting members of his vlog squad into situations that he wouldn't even want to be in himself, all the while he reaps the profits. What I really want to talk about is the clip that I just showed you. Just recently, the world has learned how far David is willing to go for fame. Jeff Wittek, a member of the vlog squad, has been releasing a mini-series documenting severe injuries that he has sustained from the set of a vlog that David orchestrated. I will let you watch Jeff's videos for details on his injuries. In no uncertain terms, they're very severe and they quite literally almost killed him. There's even a clip where Jeff shows his doctor the footage of him in this accident.
Oh, he's going so fast.
Dude, you could have died so easy.
David almost killed his friend for views. Just let that sink in. And even though Jeff did not die, it is very clear from his docuseries that the injuries he has sustained will most likely affect his brain permanently and change his life forever. It was almost frustrating for me to watch Jeff's miniseries because it seems like he's trying to give David a redemption arc, and he doesn't blame him 100% for what happened. He labels this whole thing as a freak accident, which yes, accidents happen, but they should have never been in that situation to begin with. And it's clear from this video and from all of David's other videos that he is the one in control, coming up with ideas and coercing members into executing them, once again, for views. And I know Jeff is trying to be a good guy about this whole thing, but Jeff, you have every right to be angry. You have every right to be resentful of Dave. The level of reckless endangerment David put you and others in for the sake of a vlog is messed up. And it's not only messed up, but I think it's criminal. And I want to tell you why. So since the event took place in Utah, I've been researching Utah laws and just trying to figure out exactly what David did wrong here that gives me this icky feeling that he shouldn't just be getting off scot-free with just paying Jeff's medical bills. So I want to go through each of the charges I found that could potentially apply to David in this situation. So first, a disclaimer. I went to school to study engineering. I do not have any legal background, but the reason that I'm making this video is I think this is really important to draw attention to, that this is not okay. I've not seen anyone with a law background or otherwise actually go through and talk about what David has done that is illegal in this situation. I want to put this video out there to draw attention to the fact that this is not okay and should not be considered acceptable by the laws of the state of Utah or the United States of America. I think a lot of David's viewers are young and impressionable, and I think not taking this with the utmost severity that it deserves is dangerous for these, kids and young adults to be seeing these stunts as something that you can, at the end of the day, survive and joke around with your friend with afterwards. Not to say that Jeff isn't taking this seriously. Obviously he is. It's his life. It's his life-changing injuries. But I think that this legal take is very important. And I do hope ultimately that he is charged and sees some sort of criminal penalty for his actions. That being said, if anyone out there with a legal background wants to refute different points or assumptions that I've made in this video, please go ahead. I invite you to do so that we all may learn about the law a little bit more. But like I said, haven't seen that yet, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and try it myself. So here we go. Before I get into the charges, let me explain what's going on in that video. David drove an excavator out into a shallow body of water in Utah with his vlog squad buddies. He then tied a raft to a rope which was attached to the bucket of the excavator. While his friends were sitting on the raft, he spun the excavator around its vertical axis to increase the speed and make it appear as if they are windsurfing or wakeboarding along the lake. All the while he's filming with his other hand and spinning the excavator with the other. They then decide to up the ante for some reason, and the raft goes away, and one of the women in the vlog squad, I think it is Corinna, decides that she's just gonna swing directly from the rope. David starts swinging her around, and after she goes around once, she starts swaying a little bit due to different forces or in different velocities and it not matching up quite well, and she tells David she wants to get off. She seems a little bit shaken up, but she's otherwise uninjured, as she tells David, sometimes you take things too far. A frightening foreshadowing of what's to come when Jeff steps onto the rope. Now when Jeff gets on the rope, David starts accelerating even faster than he accelerated Corinna. As Jeff is swinging, he starts to go up and up as his velocity increases. According to Jeff's video, the max speed of the crane was 60 miles an hour, and then it abruptly stopped. And if you know anything about physics, you'll know a body in motion tends to stay in motion. So while the crane stopped, Jeff's body, flinging from the rope, did not. And he held on to that rope, and he slammed into the arm of the machine at 60 miles an hour. He broke lots of things, but the most severe of his injuries, in my opinion, is the 6 fractures of his skull. He had to undergo facial reconstructive surgery. He's had to undergo many surgeries, I think, because of this. And like I said, you can watch his videos for details about his injury and his recovery process. But I want to give you an overview of exactly what is happening here. So for misdemeanor convictions, there are 3 different types of misdemeanors in the state of Utah: a Class A, a Class B, or a Class C. Now for felonies, there are 3 different types of felonies in the state of Utah. So those are the differences: misdemeanors, felonies. Okay. Operating a machine without a certification. Crane operators have a required certification in the state of Utah. Now, while looking at this excavator, one may not call it a crane. It actually meets the criteria to be considered a crane as defined by Section 1B. Now, in order to operate a crane, an individual shall be certified as a crane operator by these different agencies. And it does say for commercial construction projects, and it's unclear really what that they're doing here since they're operating the crane without any sort of construction intent. It's not actually written into the law or what that qualifies as. I think a lot of this depends on how David got possession of this crane. I'm assuming he does not have a license. And I think that this part of the law, even though it is not explicitly stating that dorking around with an excavator in a lake is without a certification is not allowed, I think that this should apply. So this is one, take it or leave it. This may apply, this may not apply, of operating the crane without a license, but if this does apply and he is found guilty of this, this is a Class A misdemeanor. Let's talk about where they're actually driving the crane. So from their YouTube video, I took a lot of different screenshots and I pieced them together to create this panoramic image of the lake that they were on. Then I saved that image and did a reverse Google image search in the hopes of finding a very similar lake skyline. And I did find a couple pictures that came pretty close. It seems as though they might actually be at Utah Lake State Park, which I first started looking at Google Maps on the most secluded reservoirs and lakes in Utah because I figured they wouldn't be in such a public place doing something so stupid. But after looking at all those different places, it seemed like the skyline that matched the most was actually Utah Lake State Park. So they were just right out in the open doing this. So I don't know if this next thing I'm going to go into is about wildlife destruction. And I have a feeling that on state parks, state-controlled lands, this penalty might be increased. But let me tell you what the law says. This section that does apply is destructive or injurious materials on parks, recreation areas, waterways, or other public and private lands. And this is basically an anti-littering law. And I'm wondering if Jeff's bone fragments count as litter. In that sort of same realm, befouling waters is a Class B misdemeanor. So if you deposit any offensive rubbish and you put it where this waste and drainage can flow directly into the waters of any stream, then that could be befouling waters. Which the definition of this, it mentions just doing anything to water or soil to make it unwholesome and impure. So I do think that that's what David's doing. I think one of these must apply for the fact that he is driving the excavator through a state park, probably without permission, and then going into this muddy, shallow water, probably destroying wildlife and different habitats as he does so. Now I'm going to talk about the most important stuff, endangering Jeff and others. So first off, we have reckless endangerment. A person commits reckless endangerment if, under circumstances not amounting to a felony offense, the person recklessly engages in conduct that creates a substantial risk of death or serious bodily injury to another person. This is a Class A misdemeanor. Now this definitely applies even if Jeff were to not get hurt. This reckless conduct with a substantial risk of death, as even verified by Jeff's doctor, is enough to constitute a Class A misdemeanor. Next up, we have assault, which can actually apply here, even though David did not have malintent in this situation, assuming. Assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another, or assault is an act committed with unlawful force or violence that causes bodily injury to another or creates a substantial risk of bodily injury to another. Assault is a Class A misdemeanor if the person actually causes substantial bodily injury to another, which in this case is true. You can say that David, he was having this unlawful act of force and violence by spinning this crane, and he caused significant bodily harm to the person at the end of the crane. So again, Class A misdemeanor. Now, this is where Jeff really needs to pay attention. There is a whole section on remedies of a person injured by a pattern of unlawful activity. So a person injured by a person engaged in conduct forbidden by the unlawful acts section may sue in an appropriate court and recover twice the damages they sustain, which means Jeff could not only get money for his medical bills, he could get double that, just for all of the pain and harm that David has caused him. And let me mention this conduct that is forbidden by this section. So it is unlawful for any person who has received any proceeds, whether directly or indirectly, from a pattern of unlawful activity in which the person has participated as a principal, to use or invest any part of that income in the establishment or operation of any enterprise. So in this section, this is really fun because it says, after determination of liability, the district court may, in addition to granting the relief, the double damages that we just talked about, so they can order David to divest himself of any interest in or any control, direct or indirect, of any enterprise. YouTube, Facebook, wherever he's posting his videos, his weird social media company. So what this means is that if they are able to prove that in a pattern of criminal activity, David has injured Jeff recover twice the damages, the court can then additionally take all of David's business prospects away from him, meaning no more YouTube, no more dangerous vlogs, putting people in danger. This can actually shut him down. And in my opinion, this is what needs to happen because it's proven time and time again that David puts friends and strangers into dangerous situations that he himself wouldn't even want to be in. He doesn't have a right to this platform, and there's actually a legal case for that. Like I said, let's get some real legal people in here, because I definitely do see a pattern of criminal activity. Now I want to talk a little bit about hypothetical. Being that Jeff was so close to death, let's take a hypothetical situation that Jeff actually passed away from his injuries. So manslaughter. Manslaughter is a felony of the second degree. So criminal homicide, which is basically Utah's way of saying you killed someone. If you kill someone, it counts as manslaughter if you recklessly cause the death of another. And that is pretty straightforward. So felony of the second degree, manslaughter. Now, murder. This is where it gets interesting because obviously David has the best intentions. He's such a good intentioned dude, blah, blah, blah. In my opinion, murder can still apply in this situation. So, criminal homicide constitutes murder if acting under circumstances evidencing a depraved indifference to human life, the actor knowingly engages in conduct which creates a grave risk of death to another and thereby causes the death of another. Murder is a first-degree felony. A person who is convicted of murder shall be sentenced to imprisonment for a minimum of 15 years. And I don't know if David thought anyone was going to get hurt. I know he didn't want anyone to get hurt, but the fact that he was acting this way, for me, demonstrates that a depraved indifference to human life. And it's evident that he cares about his own life because he's not the one swinging on the crane. He's not the one jumping out of the plane, but he has an indifference to the life of his so-called friends. And this is sickening, and I think this is murder. If Jeff would have died. Can this count as attempted murder or attempted manslaughter? Can that be a Class A misdemeanor? Or a third-degree felony? I'm not sure. Been looking through this code for the past couple days, haven't been able to find it yet. If Jeff would have died, David could have gotten life in prison. Hey guys, forgot to mention this when I was filming, but negligent homicide is also something that can apply. And I'm not sure if this is an add-on to the manslaughter or if this is it reduces the charge to a Class A misdemeanor, but this really sounds like it can apply since David was acting recklessly and hypothetically caused the death of his friend. This might also be a better charge because it accounts for the fact that David necessarily didn't want to kill Jeff, but his reckless actions resulted in that, hypothetically. Now this stuff is a little bit far-fetched, but I thought maybe I'd bring it up just in case. According to the state of Utah, a criminal street gang means an organization or a group of 3 or more persons. It can be operated informally or formally, that is currently in operation, check, that has one of its primary activities the commission of one or more predicate gang crimes, that has as a group an identifying name or identifying sign or symbol or both, vlog squad, check, whose members acting individually or in concert with other members engage in or have engaged in a pattern of criminal gang activity. If the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the person acted to gain recognition, acceptance, membership, or increased status with a criminal street gang. So this was really hard hitting because I know that members of the vlog squad do things that they're uncomfortable with in order to gain David's acceptance and his approval. Now, just how far are they willing to go for David? I think we've all seen they're willing to put their own lives in danger. This criminal street gang is kind of a little bit, far-fetched, but it does make you think just the whole mentality of what they're doing is a couple steps away from being incredibly dangerous. It already is incredibly dangerous. It's just a couple steps away from being an illegal group. So there we have it. That's all the legal stuff I'm going to go over for this video. Once again, if there's anyone with a legal background who wants to help me out with this, please speak up, refute my claims. I'm here to learn. But I'm also here to spread the word that this is not right. And Jeff, if you want to press charges, you go ahead. Go ahead, honey. Like, you don't even just need the medical bill money. You can have double that. But yeah, to conclude, if David doesn't end up going to jail, he should at least be deplatformed. At least be deplatformed. He is clearly a danger to others. and his vlogs aren't even entertaining, they're just dangerous. But thank you so much for watching. I know this video was a little bit different from my others. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see anything from squishmallow hunting to thrift hauling to random vlogs where I talk by myself. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. My next video should be a little bit more fun, but again, I wasn't seeing videos like this out there, so I thought, why not just make one myself? If you didn't like it, that's okay too. I don't know what else to say. Bye.